never fall. It's the Renaissance. You know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance. You know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man.
The New York Jets get clapped by the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville this past weekend. Absolutely embarrassing stuff. The kind of game where you look at it and it makes you question everything. It makes you question why you root for this team. It makes you question why you put so much energy into this organization. It makes you question, why as a child this was the direction you chose to go with your fandom. I won't lie to you. It was frustrating to watch that. It was very frustrating to watch that. And it wasn't again, I wasn't expecting for the Jets to win that game. I don't think anybody was really expecting the Jets to win that game. But my gosh, man, we just wanted to fight. We just wanted to see more of the effort that we had seen for the last, month or so that made us believe that potentially we had turned the ship around in regards to this team at least having heart. Nah, that was embarrassing. Man, howdy. What's up, Ty? Welcome to the Hangar HangOut. Appreciate you, Brian. What I see this weekend in New Orleans, I'm gonna be there, brother. I'm getting there actually on Saturday. It's gonna be in a call to my boys, and then Sunday we'll be at the game as well. So you can go ahead and hit me up offline if you're on X or Instagram and whatnot. Shoot me a DM. We can meet up and of course, just chop it up about the Jets. It's gonna be us in enemy territory, so the more the merrier. Todd, what's your opinion on the Philadelphia Eagles backup quarterback? Actually, we're going to discuss that. I think that if he is available, I only say this because you love what you've seen, from the Eagles when it comes to their draft picks, right? Like they've done an incredible job in that organization, from top to bottom in terms of getting quality talent, cultivating that talent, developing that talent. So if you tell me, that we have a shot at getting, the backup quarterback, I think his name is Tanner McKee from the Eagles, I'm interested. And again, Tanner McKee is somebody that a lot of individuals like. He has good height, 6'5", I think it is, big bodied guy, 231. You gotta assume he's got, he's got a high IQ. He went to Stanford, if I'm not mistaken. Also a guy who understands freaking overcoming adversity. I think he was one that had to overcome cancer when he was younger as well. Like his story is one that you look at and you can just kind of like resonate with it, right? He's just one of those guys. To give him an opportunity, I would be down for it. I would be interested in seeing what Tanner McKee brings to the table. Again, though, first and foremost, the guy's a worker. He hasn't really shown us much at the NFL level, right? We're purely talking about like the potential of what he can have. I think he's played I think he played a little bit against the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he have like a perfect? He was like 5 for 5 or something like that. I know he was perfect in terms of attempts and completions, and I don't know if he had a lot of yards. Vaguely remembering that he got into that game when it was out of hand, like when it was like 30-something-0 or whatever it was. But yeah, Like he's a guy that can make the NFL throws. And I would not be opposed if the price, you're talking about throwing them a 5th or a 4th maximum to bring that guy in because you believe he has something he can show you. I would not be opposed to bringing in Tanner McKee. Kel, how good do you keep your head up? It's hard. It is. It's difficult. It's very difficult, to consistently, my gosh, man, like this team just finds ways to let us down, right? Like it's one of those things where we're not asking for much. Again, Jets fans realized when we went 0-7, this was going to be a bit of a rebuild of a year. This is it. We're rebuilding. There's no denying it. This team isn't there. We're lacking talent. The coaches are rookies. They got to go ahead and get their own development in. But my gosh, man, you can't go from showing us the level of fight that you've shown us, in the previous what, 5 games where we thought, okay, coaching staff got it figured out. This team is all about heart. They're going to put in the effort to showing us the last 2 weeks worth of games, right? Especially that Jaguars get 48-20 is just gross negligence. It just is. What was it like? The Vegas had us at that 13-point underdogs, 28-20, 28 points is insane to me. But I'm trying, Kel. It's tough. It's rough, but I'm gonna give it the old college try. Yeah, so Brian, so yeah, he did go to Stanford, watched him play in college. I won't lie, I didn't see him a lot in college, but again, Stanford, I like that pedigree. You got to be a pretty smart cat to get into Stanford, especially if you're going to go ahead and be a student athlete in Stanford. That's pretty impressive. So I like that. High IQ people, I'm all about that. Heard another creator say he is in the Jared Goff type. Uh, Interesting. I mean, similar size, right? He doesn't look very athletic. I don't know his combine detail. He doesn't look like he's an athletic guy. He looks like a pocket passer. I'm also hearing a lot of people compare like Fernando Mendoza with a Jared Goff type ceiling as well. So apparently that Jared Goff hybrid or mold is really keen or being aligned with the New York Jets because they're coming from the Detroit Lions. 3 for 3. Okay, 3 for 3, 33 yards versus. Okay, so I was right. He went perfect. And I think I saw something like 120 something like quarterback rating or whatever that was. I don't remember what it was, or the ESPN rating or whatever. One of the two. It was like 100 something plus. So again, in limited action, you know what I'm saying? Like he's shown some positives, things for us to actually like as Jets fans. Sorry about the typo. Spell check didn't work right. Defense misses Brownie. They lost some fire when he got injured. It looks that way. It looks like the injuries did our guys in. AZ Thomas was out. Brownlee was out. The secondary looked just disheveled, like they weren't on the same page. The whole defense just looked bad, right? Which is one reason why I think we have the breaking news that we got this week. And I don't even know if you would consider it breaking news, but before we get into tonight's debate, right? Let's just start with the news. Let's just be right to the point. The Jets fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. They did. And the important part is this wasn't shocking. This wasn't sudden, right? He had this many games into the season, this deep into the season to kind of figure it out. And it wasn't bad luck. I think it was just inevitable. I think if we're being honest about it, it was inevitable. This was a guy that we brought in as the veteran presence when it came to the coaching staff, right? He's been there before. He knows how to be a coach in the NFL level. We thought he was going to be I guess you can say the constant or the consistency aspect, right? This is a guy who can come in here and be consistent. But the fact of the matter is he's been consistently bad as a defensive coordinator for several years now. I think the last 3 or 4 stops he's been at has ended exactly like this, a one and done type of situation. But it's not just about dunking on Steve Wilks tonight. We're not just going to go ahead and sit here and dunk on Steve Wilks. It's really about asking like the real question. Does firing the defensive coordinator actually fix anything? Or are we just rearranging deck chairs once again, hoping that it all pans out? And I think if we've got to be honest about why it happened, right? Like under Steve Wilks, the Jets' defense was abysmal. I mean, just absolutely, just a train wreck. They were 30th in points allowed. They had 2 total takeaways, 0 interceptions. You can't in today's NFL, like that's just not situational. That's not unlucky. That's just systematic failure. It is systematic failure. And in today's NFL, when you can't get the ball back or you can't protect the red zone or even in close games, you can't make it competitive. Like someone's got to pay for that. Someone's got to pay for that. And it wasn't going to be AG. It wasn't going to be Aaron Glenn. And some people are going to tell you what the offense put the defense in bad spots. All right, then I guess I would argue is that every defense gets put in bad spots. That's just the NFL. The current climate of the NFL is offenses are going to win more times than defenses are. But good defenses respond with chaos, right? Like they respond with it. They get aggressive. They find ways. But bad defenses, or in this case, our defense responded with just giving them cushions. We just need to kill the myth, man. The Jets defense was simply just not good. It wasn't good enough. Good to elite defenses legitimately take the ball away. They end drives. They find ways to flip momentum. The Jets weren't doing that. They weren't doing that. Jets defense did none of that. And so with 2 takeaways, 0 interceptions, that's not variance. That's an identity. That's just that's who we are. A bad defense. I mean, some are going to say that like turnovers are random, but I disagree. Like they're not just random, right? Turnovers come from aggressive play calls. Like they come from tight coverages, right? Where you're closing that window and looking for opportunities to, of course, make a play on the ball. From trusting your players to actually attack. This defense has played scared. The Jets defense played scared in 2025, which is odd for me to say because this is a unit in the last 5 years that has been considered to be one of the top units in the NFL. And I understand the coaching staff, I'm saying, kind of like, we made a switch. I understand there was some personnel shifting around, but, you still had your all pro talent on this team, I'm saying, Quentin Williams and Sauce Gardner. And before we traded them away, of course, and it didn't make a difference. The Jets still were getting stomped on, even with your all pro caliber talent at the helm. It didn't matter. But if you think one coordinator is the answer, like if there are, so if you think firing Steve Wilks was like enough, right? I think it was necessary, but I wouldn't consider it to have been sufficient, right? I don't think one coordinator is the sole problem here, because if you do believe that's the case, I think you're lying to yourself. Wilks didn't build a roster. He didn't draft the edge rushers. He didn't decide the team identity, right? Like he didn't even say he was. I don't even know if he was part of the whole process of setting the long term vision, like for this team. He was more of a symptom and not the disease when it comes to being the problem. But of course, you had to make a move, and we understand and respect that. And I can still hear some of y'all now. At least they're holding people accountable. I saw a lot of individuals talk about that on X. And the fact is this, man, accountability without direction is just optics. It's just optics, man. We've seen the Jets do this before where they fired a coordinator and everybody was excited because, okay, boom. Now that they've done that, there's punishment to be had, right? And nothing changes. The next coordinator walks into the same chaos, and the results were the same, and I think they'll be the same. I don't know if firing Wilks now at the end of the year would have made a difference. I don't know if you do this now because you want to shoot a hostage and kind of send a message to your team, which again I understand and I am a fan of. But I'm really looking at this team, man, after this week, and I can't help but wonder just how bad we are. We're not even talking about just like let's talk about player regression, because that matters as well, right? Will McDonald has taken such a massive step backwards at the edge position. I don't know what's going on, and I understand the sophomore slump thing is a very real thing in the NFL level, but Will McDonald went from being a dog last year to a dog, a puppy. Like he hasn't been the same guy. It doesn't look like the same guy. And this isn't about talent. He's a very talented guy. I think it's about environment. I think when the pressures don't finish and when the quarterbacks are comfortable, there's no fear factor. There's none. An edge rusher who doesn't finish is not a threat. That's just he's exercising. He's out there getting his freaking his calories, making sure his Apple Watch is calculating all the freaking movement he's doing so he can connect the rings. Because it's not playing NFL football the way we want him to. He's just out there exercising. And I get it. I understand that he's young in the NFL. He's an older player, but young in the NFL. So yeah, he's still developing. But players don't just develop when it comes to unstable environments, which right now that's what they're in. The Jets are currently in an unstable environment. Like young defenders and young players in general regress when schemes change, when roles aren't actually clear, when the coaching message is conflicting as to what they're trying to go ahead and achieve on the field. Like that's on the system. It's on the system. And I know AG did a really good job at passing off the issue as, oh, well, so I'm gonna let Steve run his defense. I don't know if y'all caught that when he was at the presser the day before he fired Wilks, and he said he wasn't gonna fire Wilks. He was gonna let him coach and he was gonna let him run his system. AG literally put a wall there, right? Like don't associate me as a defensive minded head coach with this system. That is Steve's system, and I want him to run his system. Like to me, that was telling. And like again, Wilks had to go. That's facts. He was the hostage to take out to send a message, but as we all know, it still goes deeper. And by that, I think we need to address, you know what I'm saying, the fan base's obsession with the favorite scapegoat topic, right? the quarterback position. Um, I get it. We don't have an NFL quarterback right now on the roster. We just don't. We don't have a player on the roster right now. I guess Tyrod would be the closest thing to an NFL quarterback, but we don't have a guy. We don't have a guy. But let's be honest, man. I think if quarterbacks were the core issue, how do we explain the consistent pattern? How do we explain Geno Smith, who now works somewhere else? How do you explain Sam Darnold, who now works somewhere else? How do you explain Zach Wilson? Speaking of Zach Wilson, elevated the quarterback two for the Miami Dolphins this week as Tua has been benched by McDaniel. So now it's Ellers and then Zach Wilson slowly making his way back up to that up the depth chart, but he's still working somewhere else. We even tried the proven veteran who couldn't miss, who was the first ballot Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers, who now works somewhere else. And again, I'm not saying he's the biggest reason why the Steelers are leading the AFC North, but nevertheless, Aaron Rodgers is in an organization where he's putting up similar numbers as he put with us, except the difference is they're currently first in their division and currently hold a playoff spot. Same building. All these quarterbacks, the common denominator was same building, same dysfunction. And we're talking about different coaches, different GMs, and it's been the same result. You don't ruin quarterbacks by coincidence. This isn't one of those things where like it just so happens to go this way. I think here's the real problem. I think when it comes to the New York Jets, we don't have an identity. Like we do not have an identity, and I'm going to clarify on that because some of you are going to come at me and say, "Well, nah, defense, cool. One year it's defense first, then the next year it's win now, then the following it's development." And I think right now we're currently in just like in panic. I think it's currently panic, which is the identity of the New York Jets fan base and the organization. Firing a coordinator does not fix that. Only leadership does. Yeah, I only leadership does. You're seeing across the league right now where there are individuals who took on franchises who did not look so good a year ago, the year before. Talking about the Bears, talking about the freaking Jaguars, talking about the Patriots, right? And currently, right now, all those teams that I just mentioned are leading their divisions. The common denominator, they all swapped out leadership, swapped out coaching, and got a guy in the building that apparently has a vision, has a focal point, and the team is pulling in the same direction. Now, again, I'm going to hear the arguments. Well, they also got franchise quarterbacks. Caleb Williams right now is not playing at a franchise quarterback level. Let's just be clear. Caleb Williams right now is playing at a average game manager level for the Bears, and their division is bonkers, right? You got the Lions, you got the freaking Packers, and then the Bears, and they're ahead in that situation. The only common denominator from what happened to is they got Ben Johnson. Mike Vrabel, I'll say this: Mike Vrabel definitely added to that team. They had a lot of cap space to play with. They added the right components, but nevertheless, even with their soft ass schedule, they've been playing a very soft ass schedule. We can blame that we can give credit to the schedule, but they can only play the team that's put in front of them. The opponents put in front of them, unless it's the Bills, got their ass clapped. That was hilarious. But anyway, other than that, right? They've beaten almost every team put in front of them. They're currently number one right now in the AFC East. And then the Jaguars, Liam Cohen. Trevor Lawrence, I don't believe is a franchise guy. I know he was considered to be a generational dude at one point, but he is an average to below average quarterback. They're currently leading their division as well, Like so, leadership goes a very long way in fixing a franchise. I think that is written in black and white. Just three examples right now I just gave to you guys. Those teams were at the bottom of the NFL over the last few years. And in 1 year, really, all rookie, well, not Vrabel's not a rookie, but first time for the Patriots head coach. All of them got new head coaches. All of them turned things around. And the common denominator was At the top, the top of the gaming structure. I don't want to say the front office, because the gaming structure is going to start head coach down. They swapped it out the top, and then boom, just like that, those guys turn things around. They're winning games. They're putting on a show for their fan bases, and I think only leadership does that. Only leadership can allow for that fast turnaround. And so, can we fix our franchise? Can the Jets fix the current debacle that is our organization, man? Like, I think in order to fix it, man, you need to have the one football voice. It's one football voice, you know what I'm saying? One authority, one philosophy, one timeline, one guy who doesn't mix messages. Um, and I think the majority of, well, I don't know about the majority anymore. At the beginning of the season, if we were excited about the Aaron Glenn, you know what I'm saying, acquisition. We were pumped about him being our new head coach. And I think we all felt like we had that guy, a guy that was going to lead, who understood the game, who had played the game. And we believe he walks into a room, he was going to own that room. We felt we had the authority, we had the philosophy, and we had the guy who was going to have the 5-year timeline to make this all work. Now, not today. Fast forward to week 16. Some of us believe Aaron Glenn is that guy. Others do not. I think time's going to tell, but these last couple of games don't really ring strong for the AG argument. So it's understandable that some people have kind of like, you know what I'm saying, teetered a little bit away from that belief structure. I still believe we need to go ahead and give him another year, right? I think there's been too much up and down in terms of, wow, he did great that game. What happened next? It's like he's still learning the game. I think it's very frustrating when you're looking at other teams that were in similar shitty situations as us, all of a sudden turn theirs around in 1 year. And I think that's where a lot of us are getting frustrated. It's because we're seeing the Bears, we're seeing the Jaguars, we're seeing the freaking Patriots of all teams kind of get back on track, and we haven't done so yet. But I think you look at that component, and 2 out of those 3 coaches are also offensive-minded coaches, but Vrabel got a veteran freaking offensive coordinator and Josh McDaniels to come in there and run this offense. I think that brings you to fix number 2. I think you have to have an offensive first build mentality. Like, offense is going to win. Look, it's the modern football now, right? It's in the year of our Lord 2025. You need to build your offensive line, your offensive system, and you've got to have QB development. And that matters because defenses now are more complementary, right? They no longer carry the rules have been changed to show us this week in and week out that is geared towards the offense. It's geared towards seeing more points. I think in the year 2025, right, you need to focus on building out your offense. I think the Jets have great start with that offensive line. I think we all love what we've seen from our offensive line this season. It's been a thing of beauty seeing those guys. They're considered a top 10 offensive line right now, and they're still gelling, still getting things figured out. I think if you have a average quarterback, you can see that bump up to a top 5 offensive line. We've had quarterbacks back there that are holding onto the ball all day and every day, and it's resulted in some sacks and some pressures, etc. But if you had a guy who can go ahead and get the ball out quickly, you can see this offensive line really kind of jump up in terms of who they are. I love what our offensive line looks like. I think our running game is also, we got Breece Hall. We got Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. Our running back core is also a tight-knit group. That would be a huge benefit to whoever takes over for this team. You got to go ahead and sign Breece Hall. Congratulations again to Jeremy Ruckert for getting an extension, 2-year extension. I don't think he moves the needle very much, but you got to love a guy who's willing to do the dirty work, and a guy who grew up as one of us, as a fan, and he's able to go ahead and pursue his dream, and he's now living his dream of playing for his favorite team growing up. I love all that for him. But again, I don't think he's got that moves the needle. He's going to do the dirty work. He has shown some development over the last a year. Maybe he takes another step coming into next year. Maybe this revitalizes him because the team believes in him. You hope for that, right? I feel like the Jets are pushing in that right mindset. A.D. Mitchell looks like he's going to be a legitimate wide receiver too. Going back to the development piece, A.D. Mitchell freaking with the Colts, they drafted him with a 2nd-round draft pick. They love the kid. Yeah, they got a little bit too deep in terms of their wide receiver room, but I honestly think they let go of one of their most physically gifted wide receivers in that trade to freaking for Sauce Gardner. I'm all about it. He's shown us that he could step into that role of a wide receiver too. Garrett Wilson, I think, is the legitimate wide receiver one. We've got components, we've got the pieces there. Can Tanner Angstrom put it all together and allow these guys to really shine if we get a average quarterback in the room? That remains to be seen. And I would say we also have, I see, boom, perfectly, Brian, got you. Dysfunction is our identity. However, we do have an elite special teams. I agree. I think we have an elite special teams unit, and that's saying a lot, right? So again, and I think this is why for me, I can't just quit on AG. I've seen Tanner Engstrom's play design develop a little bit more so as the season progresses. You see guys running wide open. The concepts are there. I think there's still some refinement necessary. I can't tell that the refinement is necessary because of the quarterback carousel or the lack of faith in the quarterbacks, and you're just trying to go ahead and simplify the process for whoever's back there. But Tanner Engstrom has, I think, shown us enough so we can say, okay, if we had an adult back there throwing the ball, how good can this offense really be? You're talking about bringing in Garrett Wilson. Keep him seated, by the way. Don't bring him back this year. Just bring him back next year healthy. But I think a Garrett Wilson wide receiver room with A.D. Mitchell, John Mechie has kind of been started off hot, kind of cooled a little bit, and you get another guy in the draft or in free agency even because you've got $100 million in cap space. You're going to have assets to go ahead and really do whatever you want in the draft. You can start to see this thing kind of formulate. But I think number two is the offense needs to be built up. You need to go ahead and add weapons, make it as simple as possible for whoever you bring in order for this thing to actually click. In 2025, it's about the offense. I'm sorry, defense has been fun. We've had the number one defense in football. We've had a top 5 defense in football, and it's resulted for us a maximum of 7 wins in any given season. It's no longer that era of football. We have to shift into the 21st century. Again, I think AG understands that. I think Tanner understands that. And I'm hoping that winds up being the story moving forward because I think that's a big component to the second fix necessary for this team to really fix itself as a whole. And we got a couple of, let me go ahead and say what's up to a couple people. I see Ty Brian, within Brian, boom, 3. I saw somebody else mention something here. Kel, let's see how the defense responds to Chris Harris as DC against the Saints. Yeah, listen, I'm expecting to see an uptick. So the word in regards to the Steve Wilks firing is that players were fed up. Players were actually fed up, and they were done with Steve as well. And I think that was a bit of a motivating factor that allowed AG to make the call to let him go. So maybe Chris Harris coming in there will revitalize these boys a little bit, get them to playing cohesively. Because believe it or not, the Jets defense, you know what I'm saying, for that 5-game stretch without Quinnen Williams and without Sauce Gardner has played the best football they played all season. So obviously we were concerned about the defense falling off of a cliff. It wasn't the case. Now, again, Jason Brownlee, A.Z. Thomas not being out there, I think won't impact that. But let's just see if the energy is different. If Chris Harris brings a different level of energy and these guys are feeding off of it, we've got guys who were talented. Our defensive line's been putting in some work, man. I love the Briggs signing and Harrison trade. The Briggs and the Harrison trade are looking more and more like just grade A chef's kiss moves by Muji. So I'm looking forward to seeing what those guys do this weekend as well. Kel Tanner has not shown the ability to elevate the QB with play calling, fields, tower, and so forth. I would disagree there because you've seen the players get open. You've even seen the quarterbacks going to the right decision to the open players. They've underthrown the ball. They've thrown some inaccurate balls that have been picked off, interceptions, scores wiped off the board because of poorly placed balls by those quarterbacks. And again, that's the frustrating part. You can design the play, and the players can get open, but and the quarterbacks can even make the right decision to go to those players, but they're throwing it short. They're throwing it inside, vice outside. And you're seeing turnovers come from it. Tyrod and Cook both did it. Fields, I'm sorry. I just think at this point, the Fields thing you took a swing. You wanted to go ahead and see if you can make it work. It didn't work. Fields just isn't an NFL quarterback. No one can fix him. If it hasn't been fixed by now, I don't think it's feasible. I thought, 2 different franchises, gave up on him. We wanted to really build around him. You got the offensive line. Fields had one of the longest times to throw in the NFL this season. And people will say oh, he didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't throw the ball. That's the reason why he didn't throw the ball. So I just don't think Fields has it, man. I think as physically gifted as he is between the ears, it's just not there. I was a fan of Fields coming out of Ohio State. I wanted Fields in that draft class. I thought he was going to be a better option than, believe it or not, than even freaking Trevor Lawrence. That whole draft class was just trash. Unless your name is Purdy. That whole draft class was trash. It doesn't really matter at this point. But I don't know about. I would disagree with that, Kel. But again, to each their own. I feel like the quarterbacks, even though the plays were called perfectly for them, even though they made the right call, they've had some bad balls thrown that have turned into turnovers and just drive killers. So I would put ownership on them for that one. We got Sean in the butter. What's up, Sean? Jets fans, appreciate you, man, for stopping in. Dano, my brother, what's going on, man? How you living? It's been a while. Got to get you on the show or get on your show, man. We haven't done anything really together, it seems like, this whole season. It's kind of weird. Super chat. E Boogie, what's up, brother? I appreciate you with the $9.99 super chat. Gunny, question. If the Raiders get the first pick, what do you think the Jets is? What do you think the Jets is plan B, C, and E at QB? Trade for Burrow or go tier 2 or 3? Second, do they go all in on offense or defense? So I think if the Raiders or the Browns get the first overall pick, they're going quarterback. I don't believe that Shedeur Sanders is, and I didn't think he was an NFL caliber quarterback when he came out. I still don't believe that to be the case, and he showcases that more often than he does not. So I do believe they're going to go quarterback. So if it's the Browns, they're going Mendoza. If it's the Raiders, they're going Mendoza. And if that happens, I don't think you really deviate from your plan of building up this roster. So plan B for me is you go best player available. We've got holes all over the place. If by some freaking freak show of a miracle that Marvell Reese falls to you, get him. Carnell Tate falls to you, get him. I'm not a big fan of the whole Caleb Downs aspect, getting a safety that high. I got PTSD from the Jamal Adams situation, so I would not do it. But I would understand the kid is special. He can do a little bit of everything. So if they believe he can be the heart of your QBR, if you can be our Troy Polamalu, I'm not going to be upset about that, right? Because again, we've got holes all over the place. That safety room is just gross. I don't think I trust any of our safeties. They haven't shown us anything that lets us know that. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't like Tony Adams. I think he needs to go, and I'm forgetting the other guy's name, but he needs to go too. But so if you want to go that route, I would say go best player available. So here's my ideal situation for the quarterback concern, right? So if I don't want to trade for Burrow. I thought about this for a little while, man, and I'm looking at Joe Burrow now. This is a guy who doesn't seem like he's having any kind of fun in the NFL. He's not happy. You know, he's on a team where the offense is tailored to him. Now, granted, it took them several years to build up that offensive line, and it's still a mid offensive line. But he wanted T. Higgins, he wanted Chase, and they kept his wide receivers of choice in the building for him. Their wide receiver room right now, I think it's the highest paid wide receiver room in the NFL. Joe Burrow's not having fun. He's not having fun. And I think the defense being as bad as they are is one reason why no matter what he does, he realizes it's not going to be enough. He doesn't have the support around him. This is what happens when you pay a quarterback, right? Like you start having to really rely on coaching or some gems to kind of like shine through for things to work out. I don't want Joe Burrow because he's not happy about playing football. Like if you're not happy about playing football in Cincinnati, isn't he from like Ohio? Like he's from the area. This team, you took this team to the Super Bowl a few years ago. They've bent over backwards for you. You've got one of the better offensive minds in Zach Taylor as your coach. If you're not happy there, you're not going to be happy coming to New York Jets. You're just not, because it's going to take a little while, right? I think our offense would potentially be better, right? But I don't know if our team as a whole is there yet. Not to mention, you've got the Joe Burrow injury concern. Imagine trading, and it would be a lot. I think to get Joe Burrow, you're going to trade at least 3 first-round picks to get him in the building. That's the starting point. And I don't believe our roster is talented enough to take that kind of hit while paying his freaking contract. So the Joe Burrow idea for me, as exciting as it would be to have him in the building, I think that's just a rush for us to get to like, a quick fix. The Aaron Rodgers effect, right? To get the quick fix. But this team is further away than that. And I think it's going to be a couple of years before we have a roster capable of competing with the Josh Allens, competing with freaking, the Patriots right now, who look like they've done a pretty quick turnaround. The Dolphins just benched Tua. they've got a talented roster. If they get a legitimate franchise quarterback, how much better can they be? Are they going to have a new coaching staff? There's so many unknowns right now that we have to worry about. Joe Burrow, as exciting as he would be, the cost would be gigantic. The dude no longer loves football. And he's coming from a situation where for a quarterback, you would think is ideal because the offense is tailored around you. Your head coach is tailored around your skill set. They gave you the wide receivers you wanted. The offensive line is good now, but not great. Your defense sucks, right? Defense sucks. But nevertheless, offensively, right now, you can only control what you can control. The kid's not going to be happy. And I don't want a quarterback who's not certain about football being in the building, right? Because you imagine we trade assets and then 2 years from now he pulls an Andrew Luck and decides to call it and leaves. I'm going to pass on the Joe Burrow dream, as exciting as it would be. My ideal situation is you get Drew Aller. If you don't get one of the top quarterbacks this year, and I don't believe you should trade up for one, I'm going to just say it right now. I don't believe you trade assets to go pick Mendoza. I don't believe you trade up assets to go pick Dante Moore. I don't think this is the draft you sacrifice those pieces to go get the quarterback. And I love Fernando Mendoza. I do. I think he's an awesome dude. I think he's very talented. I don't know if our roster is built yet to really support him and elevate him by us expecting him to come in here and be the savior, which I'm going to touch on in regards to like the biggest component of like fixed section number 3. So here's what I do. If you can't get one of those quarterbacks that you want, either Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza with your original for your own first round pick, and I think the Jets will probably get into that top 5, I think as high as 3. I don't believe we're going to get to 1. Then you go with best player available. Carnell Tate, Alvar Reese. If you freaking love Caleb, whatever. Whoever you get, you get that guy. Or you trade back and get more assets to add more pieces to this team. And you build that way. You're also going to have $100,000 in freaking cap space. You're going to go ahead and bring in some components that are going to benefit the team that way. But I really believe Drew Aller, if he's available in day 2, you go get him. You go get him, man. I don't understand the concept that he's a bum all of a sudden. When last year, half of us were like hoping he came out and he was going to be dropped. Like we wanted him last year, but now he's a bum because he got hurt. Nah, bring me the big armed guy, the big bodied, strong arm freaking quarterback who's, again, very smart dude, can read defenses. Yeah, he makes some iffy decisions here and there, but again, hopefully our coaching staff can elevate him and put him in the best situations to win games. Take a shot there. That doesn't work. You've got a lot of assets next year to go get your quarterback, and that includes trading up, in my opinion, if that's what you want to go do. So I think Drew Aller is a good one. The Tanner McKee aspect of bringing him in from the Philadelphia Eagles, you take a day 3 pick and you send it to them and you bring in Tanner because his contract is about to expire. I think he'll be a cheap addition if you wanted to go ahead and give him a try. I know we need a guy in the building. I don't want freaking Kyler Murray. I do not want Mac Jones. I think both of those guys aren't really the caliber of individuals you want to bring in to elevate a culture. And right now, let's just be honest, we're trying to figure out our culture. We're trying to elevate it. Kyler Murray would rather be playing Call of Duty, and Mac Jones, I just think he's a scumbag. I don't like the kid. I think he's a dirty player. And I think he thinks he's better than he is, which is always going to be a problem because he's not more important than any one piece of the team. But in his mind, he really thinks he's that guy, and he's not. So keep him away from me. Keep Kyler from my team. If you can get Jameis Winston, my goodness, I would love a year of Jameis Winston to be our freaking bridge quarterback. I doubt the Giants do that the way freaking they got Jackson Dart getting hurt every other game. So that's the way I would go. I would go offense specifically, but the defense is going to need some love too. We need another edge. We definitively need a safety. I think we might even be honest. We need another corner, right? There's so much that this roster needs right now. I think the biggest mistake you could make in this draft class is if you give up assets to trade up. If somehow we get to the number 1 pick and you want to go for the quarterback, then I get it. I get it. I think we need to do a lot of work to make sure that the quarterback has all the support he's going to need, though, so we don't break this one, so we don't Sam Darnold him, so we don't freaking Zach Wilson him. Like, I don't want the same thing happening over and over and over again because we jumped the gun to assuming a quarterback can save us, and the situation around him just isn't right. So that's where I would go, man. I understand the need for a franchise quarterback. I truly do understand that because without that, like really, you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back in the NFL. But at the same component, if you bring in the franchise quarterback and your team's not ready, you're still fighting with one hand tied behind your back. I'm sick and tired of recycling through quarterbacks. I want to give an opportunity for a quarterback to come here and actually develop and become the next Josh Allen, become the next Patrick Mahomes, right? Like the longevity piece to me really matters. So, no, don't trade up. You don't trade up for whoever it is. Let the Raiders get their guy. You get whoever the best player available because you've got holes like you need to fill. Could you imagine bringing in Carnell Tate into this offense? You know what I'm saying? With that first pick, you'll have Carnell, you'll have freaking Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, who looks like he's figured it out. Mechie, like you're really talking about a top wide receiver room for that quarterback coming in next year, or for your bridge quarterback to really figure out if they've got what it takes. A lot of good things can happen if you really get this offense firing on all cylinders because you brought in weapons. You fortified the offensive line, so you make whoever's sitting back there at quarterback that's legitimately can throw a football in the NFL. They have opportunity to really showcase what they can do. Or now we know, bet we got to go get our guy next year, no matter what, and you do that. So that's what I would do, E-Boogie. A lot of people will tell me I'm crazy when I say I wouldn't trade up for Mendoza, even though the price for Mendoza has gone down. If we keep going this path, it'll be a top 5 pick and then the 15th overall pick and maybe a second rounder to move up to number 1. If things stay currently as is, that's the price value in terms of the trade chart. But I just think that we have way too many holes. We'll be pretty much getting him to what? To break him? I'm worried about. And I think that's the big component. No more savior hunting. We got to stop doing this, man. There's no more miracle. There's no miracle QB. No more emotional decisions. Like no more one more year. I think we have a treasure trove of assets, right? That we can kick this thing off the right way. And I'm talking about like not just in terms of the draft, but we're also talking about like in terms of cap space. $100 million this year, $200 million next year. We need to build this thing patiently, man, or we're going to stay broken. And I know that's asking a lot for the fan base that we would go ahead and talk about being patient when we've been beaten up as a fan base for as long as we have. 15 years now. 15 years, no playoffs. Patience is not something we have a lot of left because we've been beaten up so much. But I think if we don't take that approach, man, with these assets and do it right, we're setting ourselves back for another 10 years. I really do. I don't know if there's going to be another situation where the Jets get. I think it's going to be the top 5 amount of cap space in this coming draft, this coming off season, the number 1 projected amount of cap space in the following season, and between these 2 seasons, you got 5 first round picks and 4 second round picks for you to go ahead and build your roster. Oh, and mind you, your offensive line is young and set, right? You've got a young running back trio that can go ahead and do some damage. You've got a young wide receiver already in Garrett Wilson. You just traded for a young wide receiver in Adonai Mitchell, who's a baller. Like, there's a lot of things to like about the way this roster is being built. I think we just need to do the right thing and finish it off this time. I don't know if firing Steve Wilks was like pretty much just step 1. If we're being honest, that was just step number 1. I think if the Jets, okay, but if the Jets think that alone fixes anything, I think that we're already behind, right? There's a lot more for us to go ahead and figure out, and we can't keep doing the whole franchise does quarterback is the scapegoat thing, right? We don't have the quarterback, so it needs structure. We need to have structure, and I think that this is the time that we really use the opportunities presented in front of us right now to finally build this thing the right way, like a legitimate freaking NFL franchise, because I don't know if it ever gets better than this. I don't know if you ever have this many things line up the way it has to where you legitimately can turn this thing around with the assets that you currently have. Now, the thing that sucks about that is we won't know if AG is the guy until after next year, maybe even going into the following year. So we could be wasting those 2 off seasons of assets in trying to figure out if we have the coach. Because believe it or not, even if we get the team components right and the coach ain't, man, that's bloody too. That's a hell of a loss. It's man, it's frustrating to be sitting here after 15 years of embarrassing just embarrassing football play, like just being embarrassed as a fan base. And I'm telling you guys, yeah, nah, we just gotta be more patient. It hurts my soul to be uttering these words. I promise you. But I'm with Brian on this one, man. There's no quick fixes. I mean, again, let's go. We thought, Sam Darnold was going to be the savior. Didn't work out. He's doing great in Seattle right now. Zach Wilson's going to be the guy. Didn't work out, but apparently he's elevated to QB2 right now for the Miami Dolphins, right? Geno Smith, he's had some good seasons since he's left us. And not so much right now with the Raiders, but he's had some good seasons. Aaron Rodgers, the guy who's proven, been there, done that. This is it. This is the one piece we needed. Complete and utter failure. The quick fixes don't work, man. They just don't work. They do not work. We have to go ahead and and we got to embrace the process. We have to embrace this process because the stars are aligned. And I think, man, you've got to make, again, the right choices with the assets you got, obviously. But if we rush this thing, man, we'll blow it by next year. It'll be blown by next year. We'll set this freaking franchise back another freaking 15 years, and we'll be another miserable. Like at that point, I think most of us as fan base, we'll just stop watching football. I mean, I'm lying. We'll watch football because we're sick fans of this team, and we'll still keep hoping every single year things change. But you can't waste this opportunity that you currently have right now, where the stars have aligned for the New York Jets to finally work their way out of purgatory. You got to put in the work and work your way out of purgatory. So that's my thought process, man, on how you fix this team. It's structured. The leadership component, is AG the guy? I don't know. I felt like he was when he came in. 0-7, I was just like, we messed that one up. We jacked that one up. Then he gave me some hope, like, okay, he's learning on the job. He's figuring it out. He's making the right moves. And then now we're here. And it's just a big, I don't know. The hope that we all had, the majority of us had coming into this season was, at the very least, by season's end, we would know that we had the coach. Or we didn't. And somehow, some way, I don't know. Now, I know some fans are done. They've quit. They're done with AG. Move on, fire him, give these assets. You can go ahead and use these assets to entice an offensive-minded coach to come be our coach. I get the sentiment. I understand the sentiment. But this is why coaches don't want to come be the head coach for the New York Jets. The instability, right? The we operate in chaos. There's no stability here, and that's, if you do this, if you fire AG, one, you need to realize whoever you're firing him for is a stud. And he needs to be the guy that fixes this, so you can be validated in letting him go. Or you're going to set this franchise back 10 years. And I'm talking about like coaches who have options whenever it comes time for that rotation. Nah, I'm good. Somebody was telling me like, oh, these guys are billionaires. Just throw money at these coaches. These coaches also realize this is probably going to be their one and only shot to get this right. Head coaches, there's 32 of them in the entire NFL. I mean, 32, that's it. You get oftentimes one shot to get that right. So, yeah, you can take the money up front, you know what I'm saying, and great, you're a millionaire, but you never have the opportunity again to run your own team, chase the Super Bowl as the head. These guys aren't working up to this point for the money. I mean, it's nice, but coordinators make really good money in the NFL. If they wanted to go, they can go to college and make really good money in college. The money, I don't think, is the biggest motivator for these NFL head coaches. I just don't. I think for them, it's making sure they're able to put their names in the history books as being that coach. They validate that they were the master of their craft, and you do that in football by hitting the pinnacle, the mountaintop, which is the Super Bowl. I don't think coaches are going to go ahead and throw those opportunities away because some billionaire threw them an extra $2 million a year on the contract for them to change their mind and come work for us when they wanted to go work for the team where they feel like there's more structure. All right, I see there's a couple of questions here. Let me go ahead and start. Where was it at? Maybe I was wrong. All right, Kel, trust the process. Year 3 will be a powerhouse. And I agree. I think, in all actuality, if we're being honest with ourselves, next year is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And year 3 is when all of this should come together. But again, that's going to be a big if. That's also if we legitimately have the head coach. And He's firing on all cylinders, and we make the right choices over the next couple of years. Now, listen, you don't have to bat 1,000 when it comes to these freaking these draft picks. You don't have to bat 1,000. You just don't. You've got to hit at least 50 to 60%. Just 50 to 60% of the assets you have right now have to hit over the next 2 years, and amongst that has to be the quarterback. And you've crushed it. Like, you've crushed it. You've done an incredible job as a GM, and as a head coach, you should be able to work with that if you're legitimately a head coach to go ahead and turn this thing around. You're not going to hit 1,000. You're not going to bat 1,000 when it comes to picking, all studs who are going to come in here, and that's not realistic. Nobody does that at the NFL level. 50 to 60% though of this many assets between free agents and of course your draft picks over the next 2 years, you can build a powerhouse if you hit 50 to 60%. Again, the quarterback must be amongst that 50 to 60% of success rate. Do we draft more Mendoza or wait for Archie? Honestly, if you told me today I can only have one of those three guys, I want Archie. I do. I like how Archie started off a little bit tough this year. He struggled, he fought through it and whatnot, and then boom, as the season progressed, he got better, elevated his game. I think Mendoza is going to be a starting NFL quarterback. I do, but I think he has a ceiling. I think Archie Manning, though, combination of athleticism, strong arm. I'm gonna say it again. The family genetics. I'm gonna give that points as well. The football, IQ. He's been eating, breathing, living football since he was like 5 years old. I think that guy's ceiling is higher. I do. I'm not going to go as far as saying he's a generational talent, but I think when I'm looking at Josh Allen, I'm looking at Drake May. I feel comfortable walking into, like either of their stadiums with Archie Manning behind center, and I'm like, all right, we got a chance, right? With Mendoza, the team needs to be clicking, right? Everybody needs to pull on the rope, I feel like. But I feel like Archie Manning can be a reason you win games, right? Right. I think Mendoza, you can win games with Mendoza, but the team has to win games with Mendoza. So again, not taking a shot at Mendoza or Moore. I think Dante Moore is one. It's an Oregon quarterback. I haven't really been impressed with Oregon quarterbacks coming out. I know that just seems a little bit naive because again, things change, systems change over the years, but he also doesn't have a lot of experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's very limited, and that scares me. What's the kid's name? I'm having a not watch it. 49ers traded all those picks to move up and go grab him. He had played like 8 games or whatever the heck it was. But anyway, like that to me gives me a phobia of getting guys who haven't had like 20 plus starts at the collegiate level under their belt. Makes me worry about them. So for me, if you're telling me right now, gun to my head, I'm picking Archie. Wait till next year, get Archie. And that's what I would go. If A-Rod makes it to the Super Bowl, I am shooting my right big toe off planet Earth. I'll take that bet too. He's not. They're going to be one and done in the playoffs. Listen, the Steelers are doing the exact same thing they do every single year, right? Like they're going to get a winning record and then be a one and done in the playoffs. Now this year, a bit different, right? There'll be no Joe Burrow, there'll be no Patrick Mahomes. The AFC right now, it's an easier path to get to a Super Bowl. But I'm sorry. I think ultimately Josh Allen, or sad to say it, man. Actually, either Josh Allen or I think the Broncos too might surprise a lot of us because they're playing full team football. So it could be the Bills or the Broncos for me. I think out of the AFC this year, that makes the Super Bowl. But now I think the Steelers are going to be a one and done team. You know what I'm saying? First round playoff exit. They're just they're not doing anything special. Everything that they're doing right now, they've done for the last 5-6 years. They're going to do good in the regular season. They're going to excite their fan base. They'll be discussed as like this gritty team that really likes to freaking, they're physical, and they want to. Then they're going to be a one and done in the freaking playoffs. That's just their story, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers changes that. So, infrared, I would take that bet too because the Steelers are not going to the Super Bowl this year. They're just not. The Dante Moore kid does not look bad from Oregon. Don't sleep on him. I'm not sleeping on him. I'm just saying I am not a fan of Oregon quarterbacks. I'm also not a fan of Alabama quarterbacks either. So I don't like Ty Simpson. Call it the bias, but I think the Alabama has some of the most elite athletes joining that freaking organization every single year to where they run through whatever opponents in front of them because they're just a better overall team. I don't ever really feel like those quarterbacks are elevating anything. I don't think Ty Simpson elevates anything. So for me, when you're not amongst freaking all pros around you, that's the equivalent when you're in Alabama, right? It's like having all pros around you on one roster. If you're at the NFL now and you don't have all pros and pro bowlers around you, can you be a guy? I I've never been impressed with any Alabama quarterback. That's just my personal phobia, hatred for Alabama, whatever you want to call it. Those guys are really good with defensive players, and that's really about it. Every now and again they'll throw you a receiver, but they don't send you a lot of offensive guys as you're like, oh hell yeah, tip studs. Just again, that's just my perspective on it. And Dante Moore with Oregon again. Oregon has not been impressive in terms of the kind of quarterbacks they're putting out there either. Bo Nix is not lighting up the scoreboard because they're winning they're getting team wins. And what was it? Mariota also went to Oregon as well. We see how that kind of panned out. Again, not knocking the kid is talented. I just don't know if his skill set's going to really translate to the NFL the way people think it's going to. Not to mention he's only had, I think, 13 or 14 starts at the collegiate level. That's gross to me. Again, I'm with Brian. No quick fixes. We got to go ahead and do this the right way. Infrared hits us up with, if anyone thought we were going to get more than 6 wins this year and 8 wins next year, you are delusional. Count me in. I thought we were going to be between 6 and 7 wins this year, but I really bought into AG, the hype when he came in, that, you know what, a lot of the things that he saw was not talent-wise. It was coaching. He made me believe that his ability to coach was going to go ahead and fix a lot of our problems. I believed him. I bought into it. I'm obviously a clown because that wasn't the case. The team as a whole has a lot of holes in it. So here we are, 3 wins later, and I don't think we win another game the rest of the season. So yeah, I was delusional. It's me. I was guilty of it. And 8 wins next year, man. Listen, Patriots, the Bears and the Jaguars tell you can flip the script if you do things right. So I would argue that we have a better offensive line, better running back, and I would pick Garrett Wilson over the wide receivers at the Jaguars, with the Patriots, or the Broncos. I think Garrett Wilson's a better receiver. So I would think we have more, at least on the offensive side, than those guys did. If that's to say Brownlee's healthy next year. Again, look, I'm not saying we're going to win 8 games next year. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if we did, just because we do have some components of elite special teams. We got a top 10 offensive line. Our running backs, I think, as a collective, are going to be a top 10 room in the NFL. Garrett Wilson, I think, is a dog in the NFL. I think he's one of the top 15 wide receiver in the NFL. A.D. Mitchell's again, I think we've got some pieces that can surprise some people. But again, time will tell. I'm delusional though, because right now I'm just thinking of happy thoughts. But you're right; it's probably going to be not at all 8 wins next year, and here I am. They know. Watch Dante Moore before you throw him away. Plus, he can hit every 20-plus yard outside the hash. So, like a bunch of placement insane, intermediate, and beyond. Listen, again, I'm not knocking that he can make those throws at the collegiate level. I'm not knocking that at all. I'm just saying that we saw Marcus Mariota do that. The guy won a Heisman, right? Like, name me the Oregon quarterback, that Bo Nix. He's missed some of the dumbest throws that you've ever seen at the NFL level that he was making in college. I've seen the Oregon tape before. I just don't want to fall for it again. And I'm not impressed. Now, again, watching him for college, I think Dante Moore's exciting. I think for a college football quarterback, he's fun to watch. He's a blast. But name me the Oregon quarter that's come out and hasn't just been a dud at the NFL level. And again, I understand the system changes. I get that. But they don't run a pro-style offense, right? It's a very gimmicky offense that Oregon tends to stick with, right? More flashy, more fun, right? It doesn't transition well to the NFL. And as talented physically as Dante Moore is, I can tell you I saw freaking Justin Fields making all kinds of throws all over the freaking field as an Ohio State quarterback. I saw that with my own eyes. I thought that dude was going to be a dog. Couldn't miss. Can make all the throws. Then you get him into the NFL, and it's not the case. I think Dante Moore gives me more of that vibe than him coming in here and being the next, like, I don't know, Drake May. I think Drake May is actually a lot better than I thought he was going to be in college, which is frustrating to have to admit. Kel, you're right, Gunny. Oregon QB sent to me like, yeah, they tend to be very fun to watch in Oregon. They do. You know what I'm saying? And then they get to the NFL, and it's like, oh, okay. I don't know what I was watching when you were in school. Thoughts Hammer Gino would do when they left us. I'm just saying. So Sean goes, uh, who thought Sam or Gino would do shit when they left us? Sam or Gino? Sam Darnold. I'm just waiting for Zach to do the same. I'm so embarrassing, man. I can see A-Rod going to the Super Bowl. We are doomed. Listen, Sean. Listen. A-Rod is not going to the Super Bowl. That's not happening. Aaron Rodgers is not going to the Super Bowl. We're not even going to breathe that into existence. But if Zach Wilson starts figuring things out, yeah, no, I am going to be sick to my stomach. If Zach Wilson winds up having a couple of seasons in the NFL where he's a legitimate NFL quarterback, then it just further validates that it's us, it's not them. Like you've had the breakup, right? Nah, it's not you, it's me, right? Like we're seeing it more and more between Gino saying like, oh, it is us. It wasn't them, it was us. If Zach Wilson can be a competent NFL quarterback, because again, Zach Wilson has got a very talented arm. The kid can make all the throws. He's athletic. Like let's not pretend like Zach Wilson isn't one of the. Obviously, he's a top 5 strongest arm in the NFL right now. The kid's got a cannon. Doesn't matter because between the ears, he can't see the field. If somehow somebody slows the game down for that dude, man, I'm gonna be disgusted. I'm with you, Sean. I'm going to be sick if that kid figures it out. All right. Now he's made up his mind, Boogie. Plus, we can't all agree, no, the reverse takes. Yeah, and again, I thought, I'll be the first to admit, I thought Drake May was going to be absolute trash. I called Drake May, and I quote, bigger Zach Wilson. I said that. Those words came out of my mouth numerous times live on the air. Bigger Zach Wilson. Clearly, I was an idiot. Drake May is an NFL caliber quarterback and a good one, and he hasn't even peaked yet. He's still growing. So we could all disagree on it. Moore might be a stud. Might be the first Oregon quarterback to come out and just be that dude. He could be him. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. I look at him play, and I think it's fun to watch him play at Oregon. I thought Justin Fields was fun to watch too. We were told Trevor Lawrence was going to be the next freaking Andrew Luck coming out of college. Sometimes the stuff you see in college just doesn't translate to the NFL. And in Oregon, it never does. So for me, I'm going to just be like, if the Jets draft him, I'm going to root for the kid. I'm going to jump on that bandwagon because he's a Jet. But deep inside, I just don't know if he's going to really hit that next level at the NFL level. It just scares me. Plus, I hate the fact that I started like 14 games, something like that. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a no for me on Dante Moore. Again, the only quarterback that I would draft in the first round in this draft is Fernando Mendoza. And then after that, I want Drew Aller. I'll probably say his name wrong. I want Drew Aller. That's who I want. But not like in the first round, like in day 2. Go get him. I think people are sleeping on him because the recency bias is a thing. And that's why you're not hearing about him again. But I want Drew. That's who I would rather go and get in day 2 than to go ahead and get another quarterback in this draft class in the first round, if it's not Mendoza. Yes, Ruckert did get signed for the low. Lazard is a goner. Yesterday was a good day. Yeah, and I think that yesterday was a good day. You also extended freaking our center last week. I'm having I'm having a brain fart. But you extend the center as well. You add a couple of good depth pieces that already have continuity with the roster. And a guy like Ruckert, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, I said earlier, he hasn't really gotten to where we were hoping he was going to be as a tight end, but he's a guy who went to do the dirty work. He's a willing blocker. And he's buying into what AG's selling, right? You want more of those guys around to, of course, be mouthpieces for you when you start bringing in these new free agents and, of course, these new rookies over the next couple of years. So happy for him, man. Congratulations to him because, again, imagine growing up your whole life being a fan of your team and then you get to live out your dream of playing for that team. That in alone has its own level of value. And seeing the Jets pay, you know what I'm saying, like to keep their own, I'm always going to root for that because it shows that, you know what I'm saying, you're taking care of the guys who are willing to put in the work. Ruckert is willing to put in the work. He just hasn't really arrived yet. Still young. He can still have a turnaround. And hopefully with a competent quarterback behind center, we get to see it. Infrared, I'm delusional also. I had us at 8-9. Yeah. Yeah, Brian, listen, I'm with you. I said between 6 and 8 wins. And I was just like, but in all actuality, a couple of things go right, we can get double digits. I literally said double digits like a dumbass, man. I said that shit out loud. But again, I'm a fan first, right? I'm a fan first before I'm a logical football mind. Here we go. Kel, which is worse, delusion or expecting failure? I think expecting failure is. Like I think expecting failure is, right, because if you're delusional, eventually you get forced back into reality, right? Like I think that to me has been but I enjoy the delusion. I get to enjoy the off season. I get to enjoy the preseason. I even get to enjoy the first month or so of the NFL football because I'm delusional and believing my team is going to figure it out. But if you're just expecting failure, that's just miserable. Like, why even bother? Like, why even watch the games? I think that to me is worse than being delusional. Delusional, you get brought back to reality when you have to be brought back to reality. Like, I got brought back in freaking October. We're not good. But if you're expecting failure, man, your whole offseason is trash. Why are you watching the game? Because you're just miserable. You think your team is garbage. Like, I would say expecting failure is worse. Expecting failure is worse. All right. So Moore was fun to watch. I agree, brother Ragnani. Yeah. I think again, I think Moore fun to watch. Fun to watch. I just don't believe that it's going to transition to the NFL, man. It just makes me. It worries me. You bring him in. I'm gonna root for him because he's a Jet. I am, but I don't want Dante Moore. I don't want Ty Simpson. The only quarterback that I think would be a win would be freaking if you get Fernando Mendoza in the first round, and ideally without having to use assets to get him. No thirds, and does that mean you're willing to do a top 50 pick on Alar? So again, this is the crazy part to me, right? Like, is quarterback not the most important position in the sport? Like, I'm hearing people talking about bringing in freaking Mac Jones, and I've heard some people say Russell Wilson, like guys who we just know are horrible. Drew brings you a level of hope. This is a guy that we were all wanting to draft in the first round last year. The injury happens, and all of a sudden now he's a bum. Like, I think somebody else just said like Allers. Like that's crazy to me. Like last year, this guy was a first round graded like prospect. Big body. He can make all the throws. He's got a little bit of mobility to him. He's able to play in a pro style offense. Like he can make. Like I don't get it. I don't understand how the recency bias has been like this bad when it comes to Drew. But again, to each their own. Everybody's allowed their opinion. I would be okay with the day 2 pick to get Drew Aller because again, you need the quarterback. We're gonna need a quarterback, and I would rather take more shots at the quarterback position to make sure we get it right. And if we don't have it right, boom, next year, take more shots at it again. Because as you build this roster up and you get the right pieces on the roster, it's not going to matter without the quarterback. You still need that guy. So if you mean to tell me you take a shot at a guy who had a first round grade on him last year, who got hurt at the beginning of the year, and apparently fell off a lot of people's radars, like some people are saying like he should be undrafted. I'm like, that's crazy to me. Or just go get Tanner McKee. That's fine by me too. I just think you need to go ahead and get a young quarterback in the building that's going to give you an upside, a guy that hasn't really shown you anything in the NFL level that can get us excited. And if you want to bring in a bridge guy with him to go along with it, by all means, do that as well. All right, y'all. Listen, that is the Hangar Hangout today, man. That's the Hangar Hangout. Here we are. I told my wife it was going to be a 30-minute show, and she laughed and said, okay, I'll see you in an hour. She called it. She called it. I'm gonna do this last one. Can Mendoza succeed in NFL? Who is his QB NFL comparison? Look, so I didn't see this at first, and I was watching I forget what show that was, but they were breaking down some of his playing style, right? And they were putting tape next to tape, and you would see Mendoza doing some things, and then this quarterback doing some things. And I kid you not, man, it looked very identical. And then, so of course, I went back and started looking at their different like mannerisms, how they freaking go in the huddle, and their ceilings. And Drew Mendoza and Jared Goff, man, have a lot of similarities. There really is. I think Mendoza's tougher. He can also play in the cold. I know early on Goff struggled in the cold weather. And I would say Mendoza's arm. Well, I don't know. They're both of their arms are kind of limited, but that's where I look at when I think of Jared. I think his ceiling would be Goff. Um, do with that what you will. I don't know if that's gonna is that scream franchise quarterback. Goff. It took to his second team for him to really kind of elevate his game to a whole other level. But I think Mendoza's ceiling would be like a Goff type ceiling, and it makes a lot of sense as to why you've had several individuals go and what I'm saying, like look at him. I had his games from the Jet staff. Um, all right. Yeah, I know he played 6 games this year. I feel like we're just gonna bypass all of. So look at it this way, right? Well, Mendoza, for example, last year, if he had came out last year, he's not a first round draft pick, not even remotely. Like it wasn't until this year that he fought his way up to becoming a first round draft pick. Aller fought his way into becoming a first round draft pick last year, and then he struggled early on this year, and then of course he got hurt. I still think you gotta look at the guys. You gotta look at the individual. I just don't understand. I don't understand the hate for the kid all of a sudden when we all loved him last year. That I think that's what's concerning to me or confusing to me about it. Infrared. I liked Adler last year. This year he was a bust. I wanted to draft Dart in the third round last year. The bum ass Giants snatched him up. They drafted him in the first round. And I'm not glad I didn't think Dart was that great. I thought he was going to be like with you third or fourth round pick. Go get that kid. Take a chance. And he went in the first. I don't know if they're regretting that, right? I mean, he's looked good when he's in there. The injury, the violent way he plays is concerning because he's gotten hurt quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Personally, I think you need to bring in an individual in the building to compete at the quarterback position. And ideally, you want to bring in a young guy with a chip on his shoulder or with something to prove, or you know what I'm saying, that wants to that's coachable. And I think Aller just fits a lot of those wickets. But look, like I said before, to each their own. Some of y'all hate him, cool. I think he's worth snagging at a day 2 pick. Honestly, it wouldn't shock me in this depleted freaking draft class if somehow he gets to the freaking the combine, dominates, and he works his way up some draft boards. Like I think recency bias is a big component as to why all of a sudden he's hated. But I would not be opposed to bringing in Aller in the building. And perfectly said, yeah, James, perfectly. We want the perfect prospect, methinks. Yeah, and that doesn't exist. the closest thing to a perfect prospect ever, in the 21st century was Andrew Luck. And my gosh, was that boy perfect. Andrew Luck was a dog. We were robbed of seeing that dude's career like go through its entire cycle, man. That he was fun to watch. And then we were told Trevor Lawrence was the next perfect one. How'd that work out, right? Meanwhile, you got guys like Jalen Hurts freaking winning Super Bowls and stuff. So I think you get individuals in the building. I want nothing to do with Diego Pavia. Nothing to do. Oh, hell no. Like 25 years old, and the dude acts like he's 15 years old, man. That whole stunt he pulled after losing the Heisman, I want nothing to do with that dude. Nothing at all. Like Diego Pavia to me is going to be a problem in the NFL. He thinks he's Johnny Manziel without Johnny Manziel talent, and he's going to he's not going. I'll call it right now. He's going to be a bust. He's going to be a bust. I want nothing to do with him. You're talking about changing the culture. A guy like Diego Pavia is going to be a cancer you add to the culture. I don't think that makes any sense to me. Even if you want to say he's better gifted physically, which I don't think he is. He's a tiny dude. No, he's not. He's not. He's 24 going on 25. He'll be 25 actually before the combine. Hold on. Let me make sure my research is right because I know I did this one the other day. Diego Pavia age. Oh, you're right. He'll be 20. I'm sorry. He'll be 24. Okay, so he'll be 24 in 2026. My apologies. Good call. Still don't want him. 5 years in college and he still acts like a freaking little kid. Still don't want him. That dude, he's been in college for 5 years, and you would think he's a first year freshman. I'll pass. Plus, he's tiny. I don't want no 5'10" quarterback. I'm sorry. The Kyler Murrays of the world, and right now, um, Bryce Young, you're seeing some traction, but those guys don't really make it far in the NFL if they don't bring elite talent. And nothing about the Villa is elite, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I take Aller all day over Pavia. I would want nothing to do with Pavia whatsoever. Yes, Andrew Luck was absolutely amazing. Like, even if you weren't a fan of the Colts, and I wasn't, I'm obviously a Jets fan. You watch Colts games because you're like, what is this dude going to do next? Right? He was fun to watch, and again, a good, just wholesome dude, like somebody, you know what I'm saying, like that could be a mentor, a role model. Loved Andrew Luck, man. We were robbed of seeing that guy's career come to full fruition because the Colts didn't care to put anything around him on the offensive line to protect him. They just figured, like, yeah, you're Superman, bro. You'll be all right. 100%. Every draft QB is a risk. All of them. They're all lottery picks. Every single one. From the first overall pick to the last one picked in the 7th round. Every quarterback. It's the hardest position in all of sports, man. It's the most difficult position in all of sports. Every single one is definitively a lottery ticket. I don't care. You can't convince me. I was told Caleb Williams was going to be a superstar, stud. He can make all the throw. The dude is throwing balls like Zach Wilson in some games where it's not even close. It makes no sense. He can't complete screen passes in some games. No, man. Every single one. Every single one. And the fact is, you never know when you're going to find the Tom Brady kind. The guy who's just a workaholic, who's got a chip on his shoulder, doesn't have all the physical gifts necessary to go ahead and look like the part. But man, he's built different, so he can achieve great things. You never know. You never know when the next time, where the next Tom Brady is going to be drafted, and if he's given an opportunity behind the right offensive line to go ahead and show what he can do. And that's just the fact. If X taught us anything about evaluating quarterbacks, is we need to stop believing that like the first overall pick is going to be the guy, right? Tom Brady is the best quarterback any of us have seen in our lifetimes. It's not even close. The guy was drafted in the 6th round, last pick of the 6th round. So you can find a dude because you can. All these guys can throw a football. All these guys have been playing quarterback since they were 10 years old. They've gone through all the freaking 7-on-7s. They've thrown more freaking balls by the time they get through college than most of the quarterbacks we knew growing up did through their careers. These guys know how to throw a football. Ultimately, it's what's between the ears and what they're made of, what they're built of. Tom Brady is a prime example of that. So yeah, like I'm they're all lottery tickets. Every single one. Charles Gorman, what's up, man? Appreciate you, man, for joining Gunny's fire team. He's a member Bravo. Welcome to the fire team, man. Welcome to the squad. You're automatically entered in every giveaway that we do. We're going to be doing a giveaway when we come back at the start of the new year. Now, for next week, I'm not sure if there's going to be a Hangar Hangout. Obviously, it's Christmas Eve. I'm probably going to pre-record something and get it out there based off of what happens over this next week. So we'll see. But when we come back in the new year, we are going to be doing a giveaway. And now, Charles, you are automatically entered in that giveaway. I appreciate you, man, for joining Fire Team Bravo. Ladies and gentlemen, it is definitively an hour and 20 minutes now. And I told the wife 30 minutes and then I'd be coming to bed. I clearly lied. The good news is she knew I was making that up. She had called me out. She said, okay, you're going to get talking and then you guys are going to get sucked into it because you guys start talking Jets and you don't know when to stop. Boom. She's right. So do not forget to like and subscribe. Listen, we're still on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Last week, we had over 3,000 different viewers, but of those 3,000, only 47% were subscribed. So do me a favor. Let's hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps get the channel out there. And when we get to 2,000 subscribers, you are automatically entered into the first 2K subs of the channel giveaway, where one lucky winner of the first 2,000 subscribers is going to get an autographed Joe Namath jersey. Compliments of me to you saying thank you for your support and thank you for watching the channel. Now, if you're going to be at the Jets vs. Saints game this week, I'm going to be there rocking the green and white. So I hope to see you there. If you're going to be there, drop me a DM, leave it in the comments, and then maybe we can go ahead and meet up as well. Just talk Jets. It's going to be us against them. I think the Jets are probably going to lose this game personally, but both teams are pretty bad, so we'll see. But yeah, this is the Hangar, guys. This is your Hangar Hangout with your guy Gunny. If you agree about the discussions we had today, all the debates in regards to how to fix this thing, by all means, share this video. If you disagree, let's debate it, man. Get in the comments, man. Tell me why you think I'm wrong or what you would do different to go ahead and really fix this team. But we have to stop pretending this is about one coordinator. This team has to be built the right way, and it's going to take some patience. So, again, without further ado, I appreciate you guys. Have a good night. Merry Christmas to y'all. Happy holidays to those that are offended by Merry Christmas. I look forward to chopping up with you guys again. Yeah, see you guys next time. And as always, go Jets.
I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce. You know I'm the boss, I know what